topic. Next book for the syllabus of paper 1 and very most important one, because the reasoning aptitude is seen as the most high scoring along with mathematics and data interpretation and passage communication as well. So these kind of things are there in the paper 1 syllabus, which are very important to go through and understand. And if we go through from these parts, then we can certainly expect our marks to be at the level more than 65%. And if this is the case, qualifying JRF is not a difficult task. I have already given you information regarding paper 1 that your purpose should be to gain more than at least 65% marks. That should be your ultimate target. Okay, so that should be there. I mean to say more than 32 to 33 questions of yours from paper 1 must be right. And that can be made possible only if you hold a great kind of a grasp on certain subjects like mathematics, reasoning, ability on these kind of things. So this is going to be the theoretical and historical consideration, and I shall tell you what is reasoning. How do you reason? How your mind gets a reasoning about something? How do you make on a conclusion? And I must tell you, although this is a subject, this is a very new phenomena, but from the times of Aristotle and these kind of great personalities, the authors, the concept of reasoning is coming. Okay, from the ancient time, this is widely being used, and this specific topic has become part of almost all the tests being held all over India. So now just going to share you the screen, and in this specific lecture we shall talk about what is reasoning and what is there for us. I mean to say basic types of reasoning about which number of times the question has been asked in the examination. So there are major 4 types only which we shall go through, and before sharing this lecture again just need your quick confirmation. It is if you can hear me completely and you can see me also. Just need your quick confirmation. Can I get your confirmation? Just reply in yes if I can start my lecture right now, so that I share you my screen and I just make you available everything. All right, I have got the confirmation now. Just going to share the screen and I shall teach you in detail what is there for us in this specific lecture, and this is really going to be very interesting and very knowledge worthy. Okay, so we are going to talk about reasoning and the types of reasoning. Nobody is going to ask you the definition of the reasoning in the examination, but I shall give you that in detail, and after that we shall be studying types. You would have got the idea that in this particular lecture we are going to answer the 2 questions. The question number first is what is the reasoning, and the question number second is what are the different types of reasoning. And before starting, I must tell you, types have been asked widely in the examination, number of times, like deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, abductive reasoning. These kind of things have been asked in the examination for a number of times, not directly, but in statement forms, statement 1, statement 2, or reasoning and assertion type of questions. These have also been included in the examination regarding reasoning. So just going to tell you what reasoning is to a layman, or if we don't see any definition, if we just try to make our mind that what it can be, reasoning is simply your thinking, your logical thinking ability, your logical thinking ability, your logical thinking ability. Okay, so I give you message on daily basis that there shall be classes at 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. When you just see this message, you make your mind, you think logically that you have to attend this lecture at this specific time. Okay, this is your thinking. Okay, this is what you think, this is logical. to join at 6 p.m. exactly when I have given you time. If you are joining at 7:30, but the time was 6 p.m., then it's very obvious you cannot be able to attend the lecture. So logically, your mind always follow the logics. Always follow the logics. Okay, you are doing something, you know its consequences. You know whether this is right for you, this is wrong for you. Your mind, at least once, it instructs you that whatever you are going to do, whether this is logical or not, on the basis of this conclusion, that you get to know whether you can pursue uh, with a specific thing or not. Okay, so this is called reasoning. Reasoning is your mental ability, logical thinking ability. This is called reasoning. So now what is this? We see reasoning is the capacity of person to make sense of things, to establish and verify facts, to rationally work through data, information, facts, and beliefs. It is the process of forming conclusions, judgments from facts or premises. You know some facts. Okay, on the basis of facts, you make some kind of a conclusion. How do you make conclusion? You make conclusion by logical thinking. By logical thinking. And how does it happen? Because you have a reasoning ability. This is called reasoning. Reasoning is your ability to logically think. Okay. So to put in plain and simple, it is the ability to coherently think from perceived premise to logical conclusion. Here the word premise have been used number of times. Premise. Okay, premise. Premise are just statements. Are just statements about something, or these can be facts about something. On the basis of these facts, you make your mind, you think something. Okay, and this thinking is logical thinking. And how do you think? You think because of your reasoning ability. So this is all about reasoning. Reasoning means thinking logically. You would experience like all A is B, some B is C. These kind of statements you would have come across, and I believe that you have knowledge of these. If you don't have, then that's the other case. We have to go through from each and everything. These are known as facts. These are known as premises. These are known as statements. So these are the different terms used for denoting these things. Okay, on the basis of these things, you find some conclusion. You find some conclusion. And how do you find? You logically think, if all A is B, then some B is C, then maybe some A or C. So this is the kind of logical thinking. Okay, so this is the way you logically think, and the only process by which you logically think is known as reasoning. That's your ability. Now the most important thing we have to understand are the different types of the reasoning. And I shall move further from nowadays to each and every lecture from examples only, because this is a very interesting subject. I must tell you, very interesting. I think I got more than 60%, 60 or I think 65% marks in paper one. And from these modules, I think all of my questions were right. Where I was not able to well score, the only subjects to which I did not give much time, because I was completely confident that I can gain much marks in my paper second and some modules of paper one. So that was our strategy. Your strategy can be somewhat different, but I must tell you, this particular subject is going to be very high scoring. So example, every day there will be examples. So from examples, we shall start. See two statements given. This is the first one. This is the second one. It's saying most of our snowstorms come from the north. Okay. Most of our snowstorms come from the north. What is this? This is just an observation. This is just an observation. Observation. Okay, here is you. You are making an observation. You are saying these statements. By this statement, the use of most has been done. Okay, the first word is most. So think again, read this line again. Most of our snowstorm come from north. That is your observation. How do you observe? You would have experienced that. Maybe you would have experienced that from north these are coming usually. Okay, so this is the first thing. Now see the first line of a second statement. All of our snowstorms come from the north. Here the all has been used. This is a theory. This is a theory. When you are certain about something, you are certain that all are coming from north and nothing are coming from south. Nothing is coming from east. Nothing is coming from west, but all are coming from north. This is an established theory, but this is just an observation. Okay, keep these two things into mind. Okay, so the first here is observation. First is here observation, and this is theory. Now I think you would have got the difference between these two. When you are certain about some statement, these are theories. When you are not certain but you have experience, this is just your observation. Okay, this is just your observation. And now second line, it's starting to snow now. Okay, that was you today you experience that it is starting snow. The first line is your observation. This is also same in the second statement, it is starting snow. Now see the third line. Third line in the first statement is saying this snowstorm must be. You are not certain. Okay, you are not certain, but you are just making conclusion. You are telling that this snowstorm must be coming from the north. On what basis you are making this conclusion? You are making this conclusion on the basis of your observation. On the basis of your observation. And while making this conclusion, again, you are not certain. You have used the word must be. Okay. Now see this line. Therefore, the storm is means you are certain is coming from the north. Okay, is coming from the north. So this is the certain conclusion. Certain conclusion. Okay. So from a well-established theory, you have come to a certain conclusion. When you make a conclusion from a specific established theory, this is known as deductive reasoning. Everything I have taught you in this single slide. Okay. And when you have made some kind of observation, on the basis of this observation, you are concluding something. You are going to a theory. This is known as inductive reasoning. So this is all about that. I shall teach you again all these things. You are not supposed to be very worried about that. Now see these things. From this picture, you can understand all these things. Okay. You have an established theory. From this theory, okay, so this was an established theory. Okay, all of our storms come from the north, because you already know this is a theory. You are certain. When you are certain about something, this is an established theory. Okay, all our snowstorms come from the north. This is a theory. Now it's starting to snow. This is your hypothesis and this is your observation right now. Okay, and this is your confirmation. Last line is your confirmation. Therefore, this storm is from north. Why this is from north? Because you already know on the basis of a theory that all snowstorm comes from north. This is known as deductive reasoning. Now see the first statement. This is not a theory. This is just your observation that most of the snowstorms come from the north. So this is your observation. On the observation, the next line, it's starting to snow. So this is your pattern. You are receiving right now. The information you are receiving right now. On the basis of this information, you just make a hypothesis. And finally, this snowstorm must be. You are not sure, but you are making the conclusion on that basis that it must be coming from the north. This is your theory. So when you go from observation to theory, this is called inductive reasoning. When you come from theory to confirmation, this is called your deductive reasoning. And this is all about that. Nothing to worried about. These are very simple to understand. Now this is theoretical portion. If you have understood the complete theory, it's very easy for you right now. Deductive reasoning is the form of reasoning in which conclusion follows logically and coherently from factual premises and proposition. So this was the factual premises or factual theory, and from this theory you are making the conclusion. This is why this is known as a deductive reasoning. So one more example. Okay, for example, A is equal to B. We know that A is equal to B. Okay, B is equal to C. Okay, and we don't know relationship between A and C. We don't know, but we know two things, two statements. The first statement is A is equal to B. The second statement is B is equal to C. Then this is very obvious that A will be equal to C. If you are logically good, if you are sound, if I believe that you, being aspirant of net student, you are sound enough. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then this is very obvious that A shall be equal to C, because A is equal to B is equal to C. This statement can also be made. So this can be the fourth or the second conclusion, and A is equal to C. This can be the third conclusion. Very easy to understand. Okay, this is known as a deductive reasoning, because from this established theory, A is equal to B and B is equal to C. From this established theory, you are making the conclusion that A is equal to C. This is known as a deductive reasoning. Given you information, I hope you have got the complete idea. And the subject or the chapter from which we shall study these in detail in practical manner, this is known as syllogism. Syllogism is a separate chapter in a reasoning aptitude. The next one is inductive reasoning. I have given you information. When you have some kind of analogies, you have observations, you have experiences, so that you can form a conclusive proposition on the basis of your observation, on the basis of your experience, on the basis of your analogies. You just make the conclusion of a proposition. This is known as inductive reasoning. Okay, so the first example would suffice for that. So inductive logic uses experiences to formulate a statement. When you have experience, okay, will there be holiday on 15th of August? This is very logical thing. If you belong to any institution which declares holiday on 15th of August every year, then this is very logical for you. Okay, this is logical for this. That is from your experience. You can conclude this. Yes, this will be the holiday. So all these things make up to the reasoning. So deductive reasoning, I have taught you this. The left right hand side system is for deductive, and this is for inductive reasoning. Now the last most important one. After that only one shall be left, and this lecture shall be over. What is abductive reasoning? When you don't use all your observation, but you try to collect some kind of evidences. On the basis of evidences and your best explanation, you try to come at most relevant conclusion. Okay, on the basis of, you can simply say that whatever you come across in your daily life, okay, there are number of reasonings to you. For a specific thing, you have a lot of logical thinking point of views. You can be, and when you choose the best point of view of yours, this will be known as abductive reasoning. Okay? And this is very close to both of the previous one. This is the deductive reasoning, this is inductive reasoning. This can be the sum up, or this can be very close to any of these two. So a layman's term, abductive reasoning is an argument to the best explanation. Abductive logic is also considered inference to the best explanation. It is choosing the most likely or best hypothesis or explanation best based upon most relevant evidence. I'm giving you most beautiful example of that, then you shall be able to understand this completely. This I have taken from a web, from internet, and I must tell you that I like this very much. So this is the reason why I have attached to in this particular slide. So just taking an example of a housewife which is having a son, and he is a college or school going boy, maybe a college going boy. Okay. So now we move further with that. Everyday scenario everyday scenario, okay, this mother is watching his son. You may be puzzled by a half eaten sandwich on a kitchen counter. On a kitchen counter on a specific day, the mother saw that there was lying a half eaten sandwich. Okay. So abduction will lead you to the best explanation. Now the mother shall try to think, and he shall make different kind of conclusions, like her husband would have done it, her son would have done it, her daughter would have done it, or anybody or any guest would have come, he would have done it. Okay. So she is making a number of conclusions. Okay. So the best conclusion what he chooses is known as abductive reasoning. And I tell you how does she choose. So your reasoning might be that your teenage son made the sandwich. He made the sandwich. Then he saw that he was late for work. So in a rush, he put the sandwich on the counter and he just left. So this is the best possible decision taken by the mother. So she thought that her son would have made it. How does she come to know? She have experienced her husband as well, her daughter as well, her son as well, and for some other reasons as well. This can be there in their house. But the most best explanation she thought was that of son, and that can be on the basis of her regular experiences. Okay. So if she take these kind of reasoning, that is known as abductive reasoning. I hope you would have got idea that is on the basis of your best taken decision on the basis of the evidences available to you. This is known as abductive reasoning. If we are concluding all these three things into a single table, then you should be able to understand these clearly. The first, deductive; second, inductive; third, abductive. Okay. So all men are mortal. This is a theory. This is a theory. Okay, all men. This theory is referring to all men. Socrates is a man. Okay, so all men are mortal. Socrates is a man. So he also is the part of the community of all men. So that's why he should be mortal as well. This is known as a deductive reasoning. On the basis of a theory, you got some information. On basis of that information, you made a kind of conclusion. This is known as deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning: Socrates is a man. You found this fact. You observed that. You just observed that. And on the basis of this observation, you got some information more. Socrates is a mortal. Okay, he's a mortal. He's a man as well. He's a mortal as well. So you are forming a theory. You are forming a theory that if Socrates is a man and if Socrates is mortal as well, maybe all the men are mortal. So if you are making that kind of conclusion, that just on the basis of observation and your facts, you are just making a new theory. This is known as inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning. The last one is abductive reasoning. All men are mortal. Theory is already there. Experiences are already there. Okay. So all men are mortal. Socrates is a mortal. Okay, Socrates is mortal. Then you can logically think that Socrates is man, because if all the men are mortal, Socrates is an individual. He is also mortal. Mortal is equal to mortal. That means the Socrates can be the man. When you are not pretty sure, but just on the basis of your thinking ability, you are just making a conclusion, or on the basis of best possible available evidence. The evidence is given in these two statements. This is all men are mortal. Socrates is mortal. Mortal is equal to mortal. That's why you are making the conclusion Socrates can be a man. This will be your abductive reasoning. So I hope you would have got the idea of all these three kind of systems. And luckily, I'm going to tell you, luckily, from the practicals point of view, you are not supposed to go through from inductive and abductive and any kind of things. Only deductive reasoning is there, for which we have to solve the practicals. So it just reduces your workload. Then there is the last kind of reasoning which is not widely used, but we have to go through, and I thought I must teach you. That's why I'm just including in this slide. This is a reductive reasoning. What is this? When you are reasoned, on the basis that if you don't follow something, then it shall have negative impact. That kind of reasoning is known as a reductive reasoning. I know that you would not have understood by saying only. I'm giving you example. Okay, so you are regularly watching my recorded and live lectures. Okay, when you have not watched these for 3 or 4 days continuously, then you are worried. Okay, you are worried. Why you are worried? The only reason you are worried is that you can think that if you are not regular, and it can lead to failure in the examination. You know the consequences, you know the negative consequences. This is why you are applying your reasoning to attend the lectures right now. This is known as a reductive reasoning. When you know the opposite, or the negatives of the conclusion, if you don't follow the real path, this is known as the reductive reasoning. Information I have already given you, just mere slides are there. A reductive reasoning is a subset of argumentative reasoning, which seeks to demonstrate that a statement is true by showing that a false result can follow from its denial. If you don't do that, then there will be the false or absurd circumstances. It is proving a statement true by reducing to the opposite of it and showing that absurdity of the opposite result. And it's just showing that if you don't follow this conclusion, then you will be at loss. If you follow this conclusion, then you will be at right path. This is known as the reductive reasoning, and it was all about that. There are only 4 major kind of reasoning. I think in notes 1 or 2 are all also written, but these are not that much important from exam point of view. If the question is asked, this is basically from these 2. And sometime it can add abductive as well. Otherwise, that was very easy to understand and go through. I must tell you, from theoretical portion, only this part is sufficient. Okay, so I believe you would have got the idea of what can be there specifically in this this system. Okay, and if you go through from all these things, then you can expect that you can achieve the kind of expertise in all these fields. I hope you would have got the complete information regarding reasoning, deductive, inductive. Don't be puzzled. And I must tell you, you are not supposed to make number of Google searches or any kind of searches for giving more information. That will just make you puzzled and nothing else. I have experienced a number of YouTube lectures who are just talking about the things which are completely irrelevant from any point of view. Just think logically, okay? If you know the theory, on the basis of a theory, you get some fact, and on the basis of these facts, you are making some kind of conclusion. That's deductive reasoning, and that's all, nothing else, okay? When you come across any kind of observation, on the basis of this observation, you find some premises, you find some statements, okay? On the basis of that observation or your experience, you just make a certain theory, you just generalize your specific point to general point. That is known as inductive reasoning. And finally, what is abductive? When you choose your best kind of explanation, when in your daily life you are experiencing number of things, okay, and for one specific thing you have number of conclusions, and you just choose your best conclusion on the basis of available facts and evidence right at that moment. In that case, or that situation is known as abductive reasoning. So these are the most important thing we have to understand and go through. I hope you would have enjoyed it a lot. And regarding the new notification, a number of questions are there, and I believe that it's not possible. I just did not wish to spoil the enjoyment of this lecture. This is why I have not included. A separate lecture shall be taken in which we shall give all the details, and that will be the recorded lecture, and we shall be delivering it today only, okay? So next lecture is going to be paper second, but I'm not going to take it right now because I feel that it should not be taken because number of now we have to plan so many things. I hope you believe you are lessened with 2 months directly. You have to suffer it. Okay, you are left with only around not even 40 days now. Only 35 to 30, 36 days are there with you. Okay, these many days are you have to prepare. Anytime the exam can come now. So now its details shall be given, and now we have to change our schedule as well, and some of systems as well, recorded lectures and live lecture system as well. And regarding these, all the information shall be delivered to you as soon as possible, because we have to complete this on our given time frame. Otherwise, if we shall follow the schedule, then we shall not be able to complete, because that has assigned even 13th of December as a date for a specific lecture. So we shall not be able to cover even half of the syllabus till because the dates have been assigned. So we have to just recalculate all the things, and we shall inform you each and everything regarding that. Thank you so much for joining me in this lecture, and I hope you would have enjoyed this a lot.